This is Akashvani Kohima. Now we bring you a special discussion on the topic how India made ease of doing business a habit. The participants are Mr. Yawelie Noudi, Deputy Director and Head of Ease of Doing Business Cell, Directorate of Industries and Commerce, Government of Nagaland, and Ms. Meyase.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to this special discussion on Akashvani Kohima, where we take a closer look at the transformative policy changes shaping India's economic landscape. Today, we focus on ease of doing business, a key reform area that directly impacts entrepreneurs, industries, and job creation. Over the past decade, India has made a major push to make business faster, simpler, and more transparent through initiatives like Make in India, Digital India, and Startup India. More so, the past year 2025 has been described as a revolutionary year in terms of regulatory reforms, particularly in improving the business environment across the country. But what do these reforms mean for a state like Nagaland, where the local industry is still unorganized and developing, and many businesses are still budding up? To give us a clearer picture, we are joined in the studios today by Mr. Yawelie Noudi, Deputy Director and Head of Ease of Doing Business Cell at the Directorate of Industries and Commerce, Government of Nagaland. He has been closely involved in implementing and monitoring business reforms in the state and will help us understand how these measures are helping Nagaland and its mushrooming local business sector. Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
To start us off, when we talk about ease of doing business, what does it actually mean in India's context and from the perspective of Nagaland? And how does it impact both big companies as well as small and emerging local businesses?
Ease of doing business refers to how simple, transparent, and predictable it is for an entrepreneur or a company to start, operate, and grow a business. India, with its fragmented policy framework, which can be attributed to its federal structure and a bureaucracy often characterized by red tapeism, the importance of EODB reforms cannot be overstated. For large companies, improved ease of doing business means simple and stable policy framework, faster clearances, and better infrastructure. This directly lowers operational costs and increases investor confidence, which is crucial for attracting domestic as well as foreign investment. For small businesses and MSMEs, which form the backbone of India's economy, ease of doing business is even more critical. Simplified registration process, digital platforms, single window clearances, and reduced paperwork allow small entrepreneurs to focus more on productivity and innovation rather than navigating bureaucratic hurdles. It also brings informal businesses into the formal economy, giving them better access to credit, markets, and government support.
So, India has actually come a long way in improving its business environment over the years. Could you briefly explain how India's approach to ease of doing business has evolved over these years, and especially for the year 2025, particularly with major reforms like the GST reforms, the new labor codes, and Make in India initiative?
All right. The Indian government introduced its own National Ease of Doing Business program in 2014 through the so-called Business Reforms Action Plan. This initiative fostered competition among states and UTs based on implementation of reform action points. Active implementation of this yearly BRAP across the state since 2014-15 yielded significant results. For instance, India's rank jumped to 79 places from 142 in 2014 to 63rd in 2020, after which World Bank discontinued its report in 2021. So a major milestone in this journey was the Goods and Services Tax (GST) introduced in 2017. The GST unified multiple indirect taxes into a single destination-based tax structure, making compliance simpler, more transparent across states. By 2025, GST collections and registrations continued to grow strongly, thus reflecting deeper formalization of the economy and better tax compliance. On the labor front, India undertook one of its most significant reforms by consolidating 29 fragmented labor laws into 4 labor codes. Implemented fully in 2025, these codes streamlined rules on wages, social security, industrial relations, and workplace safety, improving flexibility and compliance, while strengthening worker protection. Programs like Make in India and Digital India have also played an important role in reshaping India's business landscape. In 2025, reforms went beyond rules and compliance to focus on practical simplicity, such as simplifying tax slabs under GST, decriminalizing minor legal provisions, and strengthening digital processes to reduce paperwork and transaction times for business of all sizes. These are some of the initiatives taken at the central level.
Those truly are major and decisive push that have been made by the center. Government initiatives like Startup India have played a vital role in supporting new businesses. From your experience, how effective have these programs been in attracting and nurturing young entrepreneurs? And how has India's approach to ease of doing business influenced the startup ecosystem, especially in terms of funding, regulatory support, and market access?
Startup India in Convergence EODB Ease of Doing Business initiative did three things right: recognition, speed, and verifiability. The recognition provided legitimacy, the digital infrastructure enabled rapid growth, that is acceleration or speed, and the simplification of compliance made risk manageable, verifiability. This powerful combination not only attracts young founders but also supports them in navigating the challenges in their ventures, especially in the early part of their ventures. If I have to elaborate more on recognition, speed, and verifiability, recognition directly facilitates tax exemptions, relaxations in public procurement, expediting intellectual property rights processing, and access to government-supported funding programs. Speed. India's Ministry of Corporate Affairs has integrated web form called SPIC Plus, simplified pro forma for incorporating company electronically, plus for starting a new company, consolidating over 10 services into one application. This has significantly simplified the ease of doing business through a single window channel, reducing time. Additionally, UPI has enabled payments instantly, making cash cycles faster. Entrepreneurs need predictability when it comes to regulatory environment. Startup India initiative has outlined a much clearer regulatory framework, and its advantages are self-evident. Introduction of self-certification, standardized digital forms, and time-bound approvals made regulatory outcomes clearer. Now, DPIT recognized startups can self-certify with 9 labor laws and 3 environmental laws. In case of labor laws, no inspection will be conducted for a period of 3 to 5 years.
On that note, as you have mentioned earlier, micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, are often considered the backbone of any economy, India included. Could you explain how the recent changes are benefiting MSMEs and contributing to the larger industry growth?
This micro, small and medium enterprises sector contributes greatly to the growth of Indian economy with the vast network of around 6.5 crore units. Nagaland alone has more than 45,000 registered MSME units. So thus create employment of about 28 crores. This is all India figure. MSME related product accounted for 45.73% of India's total exports, reinforcing their role in positioning the country as a global manufacturing hub. It also contributes around 35.4% in national manufacturing output and increases the production of goods and services, directly raising around 30.1% GDP of the country. Introduction of online registration and self-certification through the Udyam portal has greatly contributed to the formalization of MSMEs in the country. Availability of digital platforms to access government schemes and programs, say for example PMEGP scheme, these initiatives have greatly benefited micro enterprises.
Those are big numbers. Despite all these positive changes, challenges are still remaining. What are the key areas where India still needs to improve in order to truly become a global ease of business hub?
While India has made strong progress, there are persistent challenges holding us back from becoming a global leader or say global ease of business hub. In fact, India is a vast country and there are significant gaps in economic development across different regions and states. Economies of some states are comparable to those of developed nations, whereas others are lagging behind. There is lack of uniformity in both development and reform implementation. Hence, a key area for improvement that we see is implementation of reforms at ground level. Many reforms are well designed at the central level, but differences in capacity and processes across states and local bodies can still lead to delays and uncertainty for businesses. There are other areas where the country needs to improve further, say strengthening dispute resolution mechanisms, including arbitration courts. There is also much to be desired as far as legislative efficiency is concerned. For instance, the Labour Code of 2025 took ages to get legislated.
Now, turning our focus to Nagaland, the state has its own unique set of challenges. Can you talk about how the central government's measures have been adapted specifically to suit the local business ecosystem here? And could you also share some success stories from Nagaland where these improvements have benefited local industries or businesses?
Talking about business-friendly measures, I'll highlight some of the achievements under BRAP implementation, Business Reforms Action Plan. So out of 434 reform action points under BRAP 2024, the state was able to implement 184, bringing the achievement percentage to over 40%. Here it may be worthwhile to note that 16 reform action points achieved through this exercise pertain to bringing services of departments online, which ensured easier accessibility for businesses. Under IILB, India Industrial Land Bank Initiative, the department has made significant progress in digitizing land banks and related records, which is a critical reform for investment facilitation and for helping entrepreneurs identify viable locations for expansion of their business. The department has also streamlined the process of allotment of industrial shed in industrial estates in collaboration with NIDC, Nagaland Industrial Development Corporation. For MSMEs and startups, especially under initiatives like Startup Nagaland, Unati, and the RAM program, business-friendly measures have improved access to schemes and eligibility details, capacity building and training opportunities, financial support and market linkages, updates on policies and regulatory processes, and so on.
As you have mentioned, the state has rolled out initiatives such as the RAM programs and the Business Reforms Action Plan to streamline regulations and ease compliance of local entrepreneurs. Could you tell us more about the state efforts and how effective they have been in promoting business growth in Nagaland?
Okay, the evolution of India's Ease of Doing Business initiative has been a multifaceted journey, moving from a broad-based top-down approach to a more granular, specific and state-driven reform agenda. This progression reflects a deeper understanding of the regulatory landscape. With the objective to institutionalize reform implementation in the districts, the PIT introduced District Business Reforms Action Plan in 2025, which is under implementation as we speak, to focus on measuring the efficiency of approvals and service delivery at the district level, thereby complementing state-level reforms. Districts will be evaluated based on the timelines of approvals granted for relevant services, and complete implementation of the reforms for the period 15th August 25 to 14 August 26 will be taken into account. So taking the reform initiative to the district will significantly impact business growth at the grassroots. An important state-level initiative effected by the Ease of Doing Business exercise is enabling departments to transition from offline to online systems for ensuring more efficient service delivery. It may be pertinent to note that the mission statement of the new Nagaland Trade, Investment and Industrial Policy NTIIP 2025, similar to the erstwhile State Industrial Policy 2000, aligns with the EODB initiative, which is to create a conducive business environment in the state.
Talking about technology, we have seen technology becoming a key driver in improving business processes across India. In the context of Nagaland, how has technology, especially digital platforms, made business operations more efficient? And how important is digital literacy and access to technology for improving the ease of doing business in northeastern states like Nagaland?
Technology has become a key driver in improving business processes in India. Nagaland is no exception. Digital platforms are helping make government-business interactions simpler, faster, and more transparent, which is central to improving ease of doing business. Nagaland's Ease of Doing Business portal is designed as a one-stop platform for all EODB-related services and information. It will help entrepreneurs clearly understand policies, procedures, incentives, compliance requirements in one place. This is particularly important in Nagaland, where distance and terrain can limit physical access to government offices. Digital platforms, social media outreach, and online resources ensure that entrepreneurs across districts, urban or rural, receive the same information at the same time. However, technology is only effective when people can use it. That is why digital literacy and reliable access to technology are critical for improving ease of doing business in the state. When entrepreneurs are digitally empowered, compliance becomes easier, transparency improves, and businesses are more confident to formalize and grow. Overall, technology is not just about putting services online. It is about creating an informed, empowered, and connected business ecosystem in the state.
So we have seen that even with progress, there are still hurdles. What are the main challenges Nagaland face when it comes to improving the environment of doing businesses, especially for the grassroots and rural locations? And as the head of the Ease of Doing Business cell, can you share how your department is working to address them?
One of the challenges seen during the course of deregulation exercise is that under ease of doing business, there is lack of awareness about provisions of law and compliances under existing rules by all the stakeholders involved, departments or businesses, primarily owing to maybe non-enforcement. So it was difficult to identify the pain points and propose necessary changes. The emphasis on deregulation exercise by the state government resulted, particularly in 2025, it resulted in achieving critical reform milestones. The department is also working to improve interdepartmental coordination, since this exercise involves multiple departments, and help the departments streamline their processes by simplifying procedures and transition to online systems.
So many reforms are in place, but as you were mentioning, not everyone may be aware of them. How can local businesses and entrepreneurs be better encouraged to fully take advantage of these reforms? And are there any support systems or resources available to them to navigate these changes more effectively?
As I have mentioned earlier, Nagaland has Ease of Doing Business portal, eodbnagaland.gov.in, which is designed as a one-stop platform for all business-related services and information. Beyond approvals and registrations, the portal also will play an important role in information dissemination, helping entrepreneurs clearly understand policies, procedures, incentives, and compliance requirements in one place.
On that note, looking ahead, what measures or reforms do you think should be prioritized next to further improve the ease of doing business in India and particularly in Nagaland to ensure long-term sustainable growth?
To further improve ease of doing business and ensure long-term growth, India's next phase of reform should focus on better implementation and stronger capacity at the local level, especially in states like Nagaland. For Nagaland, reforms must be more context-specific. One key priority is developing clear and consultative land use frameworks that respect traditional and community land ownership while also providing clarity to investors and entrepreneurs. This would significantly reduce uncertainty and project delays. Another important area is infrastructure and connectivity, including roads, power supply, logistics, and reliable digital infrastructure to better integrate local businesses with national and global markets. Strengthening MSMEs and local entrepreneurs should also be central to future reforms. This includes easier access to credit, skill development, digital literacy, and market linkages, etc. Finally, greater emphasis on digital governance both at the state and district levels will help reduce administrative burden and improve transparency.
With all these newer reforms being implemented under the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission, how do you envision the business landscape in Nagaland evolving, and what new opportunities should local entrepreneurs be looking out for?
Looking ahead, the business landscape in Nagaland appears promising, especially with the continued rollout of reforms under the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission. These reforms are helping strengthen local capacity, encouraging self-reliance, and supporting micro and small enterprises. Mention may be made about startup schemes like Atal Innovation Mission. Nagaland is building a grassroots first startup ecosystem. This model highlights that entrepreneurial spirit thrives not just in boardrooms but in our districts, colleges, villages, and local communities. We have launched EDCs, Entrepreneurship Development Centers, in educational institutions to to introduce young people to entrepreneurial thinking before they even enter the workforce. This initiative brings incubation and mentoring closer to aspiring entrepreneurs, eliminating the need to relocate to cities for support. Many of the startups emerging from this ecosystem are addressing local issues like enhancing market access for farmers, adding value to artisanal goods, and leveraging cultural assets. Our incubators prioritize training and mentorship before any seed funding is provided. For example, in Nagaland, the Startup Seed Fund disperses capital in milestone-based tranches, ensuring that entrepreneurs gain valuable skills and discipline along the way. Startups from remote areas like Noklak and Shamato are benefiting from this support. By embedding incubation within institutions like Nagaland University and establishing multiple centers rather than a single hub, we are creating a robust entrepreneurial ecosystem. Our aim is not to generate overnight successes, but to cultivate sustainable businesses that thrive and reinvest in their local communities.
Those indeed are significant measures, and I'm sure our entrepreneurs will capitalize on that. Well, to wrap up, as we reflect on the year that has passed, how would you assess the progress made so far in easing business operations in Nagaland? And what would be your message that you would like to give to aspiring entrepreneurs across the state?
As we look back at the year gone by, there has been steady and meaningful progress in easing business operations in Nagaland. The focus has been on simplifying processes, improving transparency, and making systems more entrepreneur-friendly. Another significant step has been the drafting of the Jan Viswas type reform for Nagaland, aimed at reducing unnecessary criminal penalties and promoting trust-based governance. This sends a strong signal that the government wants to be a facilitator of enterprises, not a barrier. We have also made progress in digitizing land banks and land-related records, which is a critical reform for investment facilitation and for helping entrepreneurs identify viable locations for business expansion. Alongside these, initiatives under MSME, RAMP, Startup, Nagaland, etc. have strengthened capacity building, access to finance and market linkages. To the aspiring entrepreneurs in Nagaland, I should say that this is a good time to start and grow a business. The ecosystem is becoming more supportive, information is more accessible, and the government is committed to extending all possible support. I would encourage entrepreneurs, especially the youth, to engage with these platforms and take advantage of the opportunities being created. Ease of doing business is a journey, not a one-time achievement. And Nagaland is moving steadily in the right direction with entrepreneurs at the center of this transformation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yawelie Noudi, for sharing your valuable insights with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, listeners, that brings us to the end of today's discussion. The conversation has indeed provided a clearer understanding of how reforms at national and state levels are shaping a more inclusive and dynamic business environment. As we move into the year 2026, these efforts will surely continue to play a crucial role in strengthening entrepreneurship, supporting local industries, and creating new opportunities for growth. Thank you for joining us. As we step into the new year, we wish all the entrepreneurs and business owners at 2026 filled with opportunities, renewed vigor, and continued progress towards sustained growth and self-reliance.
You were listening to a special discussion on how India made ease of doing business a habit. The participants were Mr. Yawelie Noudi, Deputy Director and Head of Ease of Doing Business, CELT, Directorate of Industries and Commerce, Government of Nagaland, and Ms. Mary Meyase. This program is produced by the Regional News Unit, Akashvani Kohima.